the show. This episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com. With over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off, head on over to Shutterstock.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER7. This episode is also brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. And cue the same music. There you go. Perfect. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of Derpy Dragon, the free-to-play show for July 19th, 2013. You are watching FreeToPlayTV. I am Garrett Gannon. Coming up on today's show, Riot. Yes, want you to make a League of Legends game. Age of Wushu is going to Hollywood, and Cash Shop sucks. So how about a Cash Mall? All that and more, but first, Editor-in-Chief over at FreeToPlayTV, Mr. Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. How are you, sir?
Oh, fantastic, sir. Yourself? Let's keep it upbeat and positive. We've got good stuff, good stuff. It's all video games, so it can't be that bad in the grand scheme of things.
Why? Things going wrong in your life? Why are you feeling?
No, I watched Wiimo, and there was some news on there that maybe wasn't the best. The whole Firefly mobile thing, and I want to keep it positive.
Positivity.
It's video games. Even if they suck, it's still
We're
a
having
video
fun.
Game, so.
We're having fun. All right, so let's talk about it. Riot, yes, the company behind League of Legends, check this out, have approved a fan-made 2D League of Legends fighting game. I have to say, when I first read this story, I almost didn't believe it. I mean, how many times have you heard? I mean, so many companies want to protect their IP, their trademark, things like that, going after even like vaguely related material to their product. Riot.
We're looking at you, Scrolls, trying to infringe on Elder Scrolls.
How awesome is this?
It's really cool.
Like, how much cred did they get? So much street cred for this? Like,
yeah, oh, big time, big time. And it's nice to see too, because it's kind of like, well, I mean, I know it's not the same thing, but League of Legends wouldn't exist if Dota didn't exist. You know, so they kind of took that whole concept and made theirs. And it's really nice to see that they're turning around and say, you know what? If you want to do anything with our stuff, go ahead. We do have a couple rules, which we'll get to a little bit here further down the list, but they're not even really rules at that point. It's really cool to see them keeping that spirit of what they created alive and what their fans can now create.
I wonder if there's, I mean, who knows? I'm just speculating. I'm going to assume that there was probably some sort of paperwork involved.
Do you think?
Yes. Well, I mean, so here's the thing, like, right? So companies, usually this is what happens. This is why companies usually go after any sort of infringing things on their trademark, because the way the trademark laws are written, if a company does not immediately try and uphold that mark, they could lose it. So if it goes to a court at some point and they say, well, you know, this person made this and you didn't do anything about it, so you must not really care so much about your trademark and you could possibly lose it. So that's why lawyers jump on this like in a second. They're just like, we don't care if it's right, we don't care if it's wrong, we don't care like any of that. We just file this, boom, done.
And I don't think anybody at Bethesda or ZeniMax actually thought the Scrolls game was doing anything against the Elder Scrolls IP, but they have to set that precedent so that when somebody else comes later with something that's a little closer, they still have a ground to stand on because they're protected.
But this is a full-on like 2D fighting game with their IP. Yeah. So like the characters are in there, like, you know, like Timo. So they have said, I guess, basically that they're allowing the game to exist as long as it doesn't make money, aside from ad revenue. So aside from ad revenue,
sell the product. Basically.
They can't sell the product. But besides that, they're cool. They're cool with it, which I gotta say is commendable. Crazy. I don't know what. I'm not sure.
I think it's commendable. I mean, it would almost...
From a gamer perspective, it totally is.
From a gamer perspective or a creation perspective, now you're like, you know, if you were going to create something but you were worried about getting sued by a big-ass company like Riot, this probably shows you that, hey, you know, at least they're willing to explore this more creative side of their fan base. But think about what would have happened if they would have done it the other way. And this is why I think this was the absolute perfect correct move. Unless the game was trying to make money, which it's not.
Mm-hmm.
The stipulation is they have to only make ad revenue, and that's it. If they had gone after them, trying to make this free game with their characters and things like that, they would have totally been in the right to do so. I'm not saying that Riot would have been wrong to go after them and try to protect its IP. But then you have a huge company with a ton of money looking like it does not want anybody coming anywhere near them with anything that they can't make money on, and it gives a bad PR taste in some people's mouth, even though they're in their rights to do so.
I agree with everything up until the point that I think if they had gone after them and shut this down, it wouldn't even have been a blip on the radar. Like nobody would barely know about it. It would have made hardly any headlines. And this would not have had, this would not have had like bad ramifications to the Riot cred at all if they would have just shut it down. They could have shut this down very quiet and silently. They would be fine.
I disagree there.
And on the flip side, they're getting great press by doing this, which is part of me, like, you know, like I said, from a gamer perspective, from street cred, it's freaking awesome, man. It's super commendable to these guys just being like, yeah, let's do this, allowing these guys to do this. I mean, you got to consider there's no way in the world Riot are not working on more games, possibly with the League of Legends IP, possibly with new IP or other IP. They're one of the largest gaming companies out there now. They're going to be around for a very long time. It's a massive IP. And even just thinking about League of Legends alone, it's like they have to be considering expanding it into other formats and genres, like, you know, and different types of gameplay using that lore and those characters. I mean, they're so well known now. And I don't know, like a 2D fighting game almost sounds like, I can't believe that they don't want to possibly make one themselves at some point.
Well, who's to say they can't?
I guess they can. I guess that maybe that's what they considered, and maybe said, you know what, there won't be that much confusion if somebody else makes one and we make one as well.
Yeah, and who's to say that the one that's being made by fans doesn't turn out to be such a good thing that it isn't absorbed by Riot at some point in some professional capacity. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could go on this. They're definitely looking at other things. They have huge backers in companies like Tencent, who owns like everything we play anymore. So they're definitely working on things. I could see this being one that they make a version of or absorb it if it takes off enough.
So here's the
resume, isn't it? Here you go.
Hell of a resume. Here is the statement from their legal department. They said, "We'll start with our golden rule. You can use League of Legends IP as the basis for a fan project that you are giving away for free, or that's only generating ad revenue. We'll refer to this type of free fan project as project. As long as you comply with the guidelines outlined below for using our IP, the guidelines." As a matter of fact, as long as you comply with our guidelines, we think it's great if you create awesome, free, and original content for League of Legends fans. So there you go. And I guess then the case in point, go at it. Go at it. Go at it.
Have fun.
And this, we get a lot of questions on, used to be called Monty's Minute. We've now rebranded it. New show called The Game Biz. You guys should watch it. Here on Gameburger TV. But we get a lot of questions about, like, how do I get in the industry? Most of our questions are how to get in the industry or their background, and they're looking like to get in. What a perfect way for someone to get in, you know, apply for a job at Riot, right? I mean, Riot at this point must just get like bombarded daily with resumes of people who want to work there. They're like, nah, I'm going to step it up. I'm going to make a game.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make a game. Or we talked earlier this week on After Dark about the Elder Scrolls mod that it was created by a fan. What a resume piece either of those things are. If you really want to get into the biz, there's no better way to do it than to actually just create something and put it out there for them to see. In this case, you're even allowed to use their IP, so more power to you. Create something awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if you end up working for Riot very quickly.
Yeah, it's really interesting how this is all playing out. I mean, there's always been like a ton of fan art out there, and there's always been fan fiction. You know, it's in the League of Legends community in particular. There's a lot of that stuff. But I guess
that's the type of stuff that you really can't stop, right? You can't.
Right.
Don't draw.
Don't draw,
anymore, Gary. But this is the one that the biggest thing we've seen to date, really, that could have been stopped by the company.
Big time.
Even it was allowed to go through. And I did see in chat, though, great point. they did acknowledge this and give permission to this. So that still technically shows that they were worried about their IP, but they have chosen to allow it here. So it's not like they're disregarding things. It's just a brilliant move all the way around.
Well, again, what you would be concerned with is if Riot were potentially possibly making some sort of 2D side-scrolling like fighting game based on their IP, is that if they were to launch, let's just say hypothetically they were to launch at the same time, well, there would be a lot of confusion. You know, I know a lot of people out there would be confused seeing these two games and going like, oh, which one did I want to buy? You know, which one's the official one, which one's not. So that's why they do that stuff. And I guess, you know, talking about the whole fan art and fan fiction thing, I guess like their policy is kind of like a weird, kind of strange but very cool extension of that. I would not have blamed Riot if they shut this down completely because it's their IP. They can do what they want, but super nerd cred.
Big time
nerd
100%
cred.
the right move all the way around.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about Age of Wushu. Age of Wushu. Apparently,
depending on where you're at.
Exactly. It's doing quite well. This blew my mind when I saw this story. I'm sure you saw this. We've already got an expansion announced, but now Snail Games are looking at a console port and a mobile port.
Mm-hmm.
And if that wasn't enough, a feature film.
Yep. Yeah, when we got the press release and I was writing it up for the free-to-play site, I was like, this is it really doing this well? This is how well it's doing that they're already doing this type of spread the IP love to it? It must be. Or it's something you had planned and budgeted for to begin with. I was typing it up going, oh, okay. It came out of nowhere to me. I did not see Wushu doing this well. I thought it would do very well in the East. I thought it would be moderately successful here in the West. But, I mean, if you're doing things like this, it's got to be doing well across the board, right?
Maybe not always. I mean, it could just be generating so much money over there that they see this as a vehicle to try and help break it more into this. You know, it's like they're going to put some initiatives in place maybe to grow it and expand it out here in the Western states. Maybe this is part of that. I mean, this is console port, mobile port, more platforms. The feature film, obviously a marketing sort of like vehicle there. That's for sure. I mean, the style of the film, I guess, you know, would be obvious. The game's comment's based around the whole, like, you know, genre of films, so that works out. And they're throwing a ton of money at this game. We don't really know. I don't know. We tried digging on some numbers. I don't know. We really don't like have like investor calls and stuff and sort of like knowledge about player bases and things like that. I can't tell what the Age of Wushu population is like right now. I feel like the hype died off a bit. That's for sure.
And then they got their expansion on August 8th coming out, the Legends of Mount Hua, which adds. We put up the trailer for the Yamen Pass that's instance is in there, which is now some more PvE for people like me that want that in the game with multiple storylines to go through. I mean, that doesn't look like a little update. It looks like it's fleshing out to be a full expansion. For you, Gary, check out these two systems. They're adding one system that allows you to earn reputation with NPCs. Okay, we've seen that before. No big deal. So if you earn enough reputation with an NPC, you can actually get them to harass your friends when they're online. To the point where if you give them enough money, there's no telling how far the NPCs will go, which leads us to believe up to and including killing your player's their friend that you've got. So really, really interesting systems to go with.
Talk about a griefer's dream. It's like, I can grief when I'm offline. I've paid them all off, and they're all coming after you.
For the PvE folks like myself, there are new weapons and things being added into the game that are extremely powerful. But to get them, you are going to have to meet the right people. And really, the only way to meet the right people is to kill the powerful people in the world that they don't like. Now, there's going to be hints and tips along the way, but it's not like a pick up a quest, go kill somebody, come back. And you're going to get your reward. You're going to have to attract the attention of these powerful NPCs by killing targets in the world before they'll even come to you, kind of like a Elder Scrolls guild thing, the Dark Brotherhood guild stuff, where you had to murder somebody and they would approach you. Same type of deal here. Really cool stuff for a game that you're like, I don't even know if people are playing this.
I know, I know. Now, let's talk about this a bit. The console port, right? Now this would be huge news, but also the film. But if you have not played Age of Wushu, I will assume I'm going to assume you haven't. There are a lot of systems, and it does a lot of things very differently of how like skills work, and there's a lot of menus and systems that are much more complex. The gameplay is definitely in the back end is much more complex than I've seen in a long time in an MMO. How is that going to translate to a console?
I'm afraid it's going to translate like Final Fantasy XI did. And now at the time when Final Fantasy XI came out, it was fine for consoles and PC. It really didn't matter. There was no expectation on what things should be right now. So Final Fantasy XI was predominantly menu driven, right? I mean, it was turn-based to a fault. You would click attack, click an ability, go, 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 go. You could have macros and things set up, but it was heavy menu-driven. And I think that, unfortunately, Wushu, with all of the stuff it has going on the PC, it's already menu-driven on the PC for a large part, with a couple skills at the bottom, but it's mostly, all those systems are menus.
True.
I don't think that's going to translate well on the console. The PC, it's a click, and then click an X when you're done. On the console side of things, it's going to have to be navigate some type of an arrow to the menu that you want, open the menu, navigate that arrow inside the menu, and then hit cancel a bunch of times to get out. And I think you start not feeling like a game anymore, and definitely not feeling like the type of game they want Age of Wushu to be. I'm very interested in how they're going to do this, because that's the only way I can think of them doing it, and I don't like it. So,
Mike Byrne doesn't like it. Well, if you haven't checked it out, go check out Age of Wushu, free-to-play game. Very sandbox and PvP-orientated martial arts game. So check it out, Age of Wushu. I want to talk about Arcade, but first I want to talk to you guys about Shutterstock. Shutterstock.com. I feel like I live in Shutterstock land right now. That's because we've got a new website that we are working on, getting ready to launch next week. Cube Nation, it's coming. I can tell you it's coming. That's all I can say.
That was subtle. We're going to launch a new site, Cube Nation.
Yep. Yeah, Cube Nation. But we've been getting it all ready and sprucing it up, making it look all pretty, and we use Shutterstock. I talk to you guys all the time about them. We got a website, a blog, a YouTube page, creative project. This is your secret weapon. You need to look better than the next guy. Your YouTube page, maybe you're posting gameplay videos and Let's Plays and stuff like that. You need to make sure that header banner and stuff looks really, really good. And I'm going to say chances are you're probably not an artist. I'm not. I can't do this. I can't even do that. We needed like a lot of 8-bit blocky kind of stuff for the new site, obviously, because it's a Cube World site. I can't draw this stuff. Check out these. Like, you need people. They're a little hard to see, but they're pretty cool. There's tons of this stuff. You need icons. You need avatars. You need buttons. You need all kinds of artwork. I mean, you could use this stuff in so many different ways. And you're look at that. Oh, that's awesome. Pixel art. So whether you have a YouTube page, guild websites, tons of good stuff on here. Not just 8-bit pixel stuff. You can search anything. Castles, get really epic looking stuff. You know, I don't know why I'm showing Mike Byrne, but he's just staring. But that's cool. He's probably looking at
8-bit pixel art.
He's probably just searching on Shutterstock right now. Probably not.
I'm looking for an image for some video stuff that Q and I are doing, actually.
See? I told you. Oh, look at Mid-Kiss pixelated.
Nice.
Check it out. I want to save you guys 30% off. All you got to do is go over to Shutterstock.com, make an account, and use offer code GAMEBREAKER7. Got to use that URL. Got to use the GameBreaker7 as the URL. Save yourself 30% off. Get to downloading some great, amazing artwork from all kinds of artists. And there are a lot of people don't know this. There are like top-notch artists on Shutterstock who submit their stuff. I'm talking like people who create like logos for tens of thousands of dollars and more to commission them to do one thing. They also create stuff and put it on Shutterstock for you to, you know, the licensing is different because, you know, other people can use it, but still, like, you can get access to just awesome video footage, photos, photography, vector artwork, whatever you need, they've got it. Go over to shutterstock.com. Use offer code GameBreaker7. All right, Arcage. Arcage coming out by Tryon to publish whenever Tryon feels like publishing that bad boy. But it has a new cash shop in Korea, or should I say a new in-game mall, which is kind of.
I think that would be a little more accurate.
So that's right. In Arcage, you don't just have an interface; you can actually physically go to an in-game mall and see everything they have to offer. And I'm not just talking about like a generic vendor. You get to see full-scale versions of the items you can buy. And I got to say, for a cash shop, this seems pretty damn cool. I've seen things like this. Secret World is like, they had something a little like this. You know, you went into a shop and there were vendors standing around. Like, this sounds like it's really taking it to the next level.
Yeah, and with all Arcage things, right, we have to take them with a grain of salt right now. I mean, the only hard information we have about the title usually comes from like fan-made videos or fan articles or stuff that they've released, XL Games has released, but it's been translated and dissected 3 or 4 times. So we try to be careful reporting on Arcage stuff. This one seems to be that it is actually a cash shop. Now, one of the viewers on FreeToPlayTV had mentioned that this was more of a island thing for your housing that you could get in there. And we were able to backtrack it enough that we don't think that that's accurate, because this is actually in the market district in the game itself. And it's literally like a big shopping mall. There's departments and a dais in the middle with a vehicle on it that's rotating as an NPC guides you through all the latest swimwear, which is on 3D character models that are standing on platforms that will spin for you if you want them to. And then you've got your mounts and your beasts and your companions and things over here. It's one of those things that when you first see it, you're like, that is really cool. Then I stopped and was like, is that a little too in my face? No,
why is
it just freaking cool?
It's just cool. I was gonna say, how's that doing in your face? I mean, that sounds a lot more interesting than opening up a UI element that, like, you know, usually you see some 2D artwork, and then the next thing you do is you go to YouTube and you're like looking up videos of it. You're like, what does this really look like? And I don't know. I like this. I like this added immersion kind of thing. And again, right? You don't have to go to the mall. Nope. Nobody's forcing you to open that part. You know, go in there. I wonder probably be an instant teleport to the mall, I'm going to assume. I want to buy something right now and I'm on the other side of the world. Yes, instant teleportation to the mall. I would see that coming, but that's okay.
To the market district, my friend.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think this is really cool. I would like to see more games who do a lot of the in-game sales stuff and cash shop, especially in free-to-play games. I think they could go the extra mile and do this. I don't know. Do you think people will like do you think they're going to like walking around to find stuff and like kind of search for it rather than just pull up a menu and be able to like sort and find stuff really quickly?
Or talk to the NPC and he's like, that's down there in aisle 7, man.
Yes. Oh, that'd be great. That's all. They have NPCs that could direct you. That's brilliant. They could totally do that when you go to like those directors.
Would you like a cart? Do you need a cart?
That'd be brilliant. Do you need help? Really do you need help out to your car with your bags? Okay.
I noticed your boat out there with Mr. Gannon. Is he going to help you carry this, or should we take it to the boat for you?
There doesn't seem to be room in the Bugatti, so maybe we should bring the...
Mr. Gannon and his Bugatti. Somebody previously talking about you owning things had said, oh, Gary's going to own 100 website domains by the end of the year, and I asked, why? Is he selling some? I
think I own more than that already.
Exactly. That was what I was asking. Because you drive a Bugatti, you're like super rich now.
It flies too. It's the only one made. It's got wings.
Anyway, I love the shop. I love it. I love it. I love it. For a game that's, you know, is going to have some monetization tools anyway to make some income, I think it's a great tool that they should put in every game, because it takes that idea of, we need you to spend money, but it also immerses it in the game itself rather than being an advertisement like when you play EQ2 and it blasts an advertisement to you every so often about subscribing. That sucks. Putting it in there and making it part of my game and my experience, I think, is a lot more. It's a lot more immersive. It's nice, and I don't know. I love it.
Was there any info or anything on? Because it seems like the natural extension to this, which would be awesome as well, is if you could actually try on the clothes at the mall and see them on your character.
Yeah,
is there any info on that?
The speculation is that you will have that capability too, and I think that kind of just comes and makes sense, right?
Do you think they're literally going to make you like carry them over to like a dressing room? Because that would be hilarious. Like
that would be hilarious, but I don't think they're going to do that.
They should. I don't want to I don't want to be standing in the aisle and like click on something and just see an image portrait of me wearing it. I want if you're going to go that like down the rabbit hole of immersion where you're basically creating a mall, like just go.
What if you could shoplift? Oh, come on.
Age of Wushu would do it.
This is getting incredible. None of this is real, guys. We don't know.
You're taken out by security. You can't go back to no. They don't want you to not be able to go back to the mall, though. That's their bread and butter, man. They got to eat.
Well, if you're gonna shoplift, of course they don't want you coming back to the mall. This could get wildly out of hand, but a lot of fun. I don't think they're gonna put dressing rooms in. No, I think it's gonna be a little pop-up window.
I want dressing rooms in. Put them in. Tryon. Make them dressing rooms need to be in. That makes sense. It only makes sense.
Steal some of the companions. You just see Gary Gannon run and 700 animals following him.
What about if you could like take a mount out for a spin, like a test drive, like
Perfect.
Like a car dealership, hey.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting a new car this weekend.
I'm like, is it a new Bugatti? Is it your second one?
No, the Bugatti just hangs out. I don't drive the Bugatti every day. That's a Sunday drive. I'm getting
another the Aston Martin.
Yeah, I'm going from a black on black Prius to a black on black Prius. So that's basically what I'm doing.
That's more of a lateral move, I think.
Yeah, outpaces that Bugatti though. I don't know. We gotta go to amounts, right? Be able to go in, like maybe take it out for a test drive. I don't know.
Yeah, but does the guy sit in the like sidecar or the whatever and like try to sell you on it while you're driving?
Tries to sell you on it. That'd be amazing. That'd be
credit checks. I mean, let's do all of it. Let's
just go all the way, all the way. Oh my God, where is this going? All right. Let's talk about Neverwinter. Neverwinter's first expansion, Fury of the Feywild. It has a release date, and they're actually calling it an expansion, Michael Byrne. They're completely calling this an expansion. No more module talk. They've dropped module. They're calling it an expansion.
That's not quite right.
Is that not quite right?
They're still using the word module. And that's to kind of coincide with the whole Dungeons and Dragons feel. And when they released those books for the tabletop games, they were called modules. So they're trying to stick with that as far as a branding. What they have officially labeled it an expansion rather than an update. They've ditched the word update, and it is now
gotcha. Okay, there's the confusion.
But the word module in this case is synonymous with expansion. The way they're going to do this, not hotfix being patches and random little updates.
From what you're looking at, as far as like content goes and stuff, do you feel like it merits the expansion tagline?
Not really. To be honest, no. It feels like more of an update. They added they're going to
update's just not sexy enough.
Yeah, right. It doesn't sell founders packs. They added a new zone. They added a new instance. They added the campaign system. They added 5 levels to the level cap. But if they go as fast as the first 60 levels went, that's not going to add a whole lot of content, which immediately puts endgame players back into the repetition grind again. It depends on, let's say this, it depends on how fast they plan to bring out those modules. If we can bank on a module every 2 to 3 months or something like that, a very aggressive pace, it's not so bad. If this is the last module we're going to see till the end of 2014 or 2013, when we're estimating that we'll get our new class, that could be a bad thing. This can't sit for 5 months by itself.
So it's coming out August 22nd and bringing with it Mike's favorite feature, the campaign system, amongst other goodies. Is this... I was kind of confused by this, Mike. Is this a free expansion or are we paying for it? Because it's a little confusing because they're selling Feywild content packs as well. They're separate from the expansion, right?
Correct. It's totally free. You do not need to purchase anything to advance in any of the content, run the dungeons, do the dungeon delves, do the campaign stuff, do the new professions. You don't need to buy anything. But if you would like some digital extras, they are selling 2 equivalent of Founders Packs like they did for Neverwinter's launch. Now, there is no big $200 package this time. There's a $20 package, and there's I believe it's a $50 package that gets you some digital goodies. One of them, the more expensive one, obviously does have a race in there as well that presumably you'll be able to get other ways in the future. Not confirmed on that, and if it would cost money, but you can get it with the little Founders Pack. Those are just digital goodies for you in-game. They have nothing to do with you being able to access the expansion.
Sounds like a good compromise, you know, making some money. Got to put some stuff in the cash shop. So it sounds like it makes sense, but just wanted to clarify that to everybody sort of understands that you will be getting the content as a free expansion. You want the perks, spend a couple bucks. So for Neverwinter fans, maybe that's totally worth it, especially if you want that new race.
Yeah, and there's the $50 one does give you the 600,000 Astral Diamonds. So if you're going to be spending money on Astral Diamonds, well, Zen to get Astral Diamonds anyway, that's not such a bad way to go to pick up some extra stuff at the same time for something you were already going to buy. Other than that, though, if you don't want anything in the pack, ignore it. You don't need it, brothers and sisters.
All right, I want to talk about Dragon's Profit, but really quick, I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Audible. Yes. Audible.com/GameBreaker. That's the URL you want to use. You want to go over, make an account. Audible's audiobooks on your iOS device or your Android device. I've been a subscriber for years and years. I love it. This is the my next listen, and everybody, almost everyone on this show on the GameBreaker Network has read this one, and everybody is saying it is unbelievable. Ready Player One. Mr. Byrne, you've read this as well.
Yes, read it quite some time ago. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Would you say, because what they're saying is like as a contemporary sci-fi novel that it's already going into the, like, I guess the classic sort of like really important books of all time in the sci-fi genre. It definitely falls in that.
Yeah. It's one that once you read it, Gary, you're going to remember the smallest minutia from the book. It's not you're going to remember the main storyline. You're going to remember the smallest details throughout the whole thing years from now. It's what are some of what are some of the aspects? Because I know like how everybody's been talking about it, is like it's such an MMO gamers kind of book. Yeah. So where do they take you down? Like what paths and rabbit holes do they take you down that MMO gamers and specifically are going to be super geeked out over? Anything that has to do with earlier games, EverQuests, Ultima Onlines, those types of games, even Dark Age of Camelot a little bit, obviously World of Warcraft, and some of the stuff from the beginning of the 2000s makes references to. The book takes place in the future, 2040-something, but it was written in like 2010, 2011. So basically anything prior to 2010 is fair game as far as pop culture references. If you're a huge gamer, an MMO guy or girl, there are so many little details and puzzles, and the whole book focuses on trying to track down this dead bajillionaire's fortune through all these 80s pop culture references that he hid in a movie. And so all these game fanatics have leaderboards and things like that to do this whole competition. So you're going to love it if you're a gamer, but you don't have to be a gamer to enjoy it because it's all pop culture. So movies, music, it's all in there.
Check it out. It's called Ready Player One, and if that wasn't enough, it's narrated by Will Wheaton, if you know who that is.
Mr. Wheaton.
He's got a little nerd cred.
Or you could charge viewers by the hour to access your POV. A lot of second-tier celebrities and pornographers did this, selling their virtual lives at a per-minute premium. Some people used their POV to broadcast live video of their real-world selves, or their dog, or their kids. Some people programmed nothing but old cartoons. The possibilities were endless, and the variety of stuff available seemed to grow more twisted every day. Non-stop foot fetish video.
Check it out! Go to audible.com.
McFoyle is asking, is this like a sort of a Big Bang Theory, you know, like where you can sit and squeal at all the little references? It definitely is, but there is also some serious overtones and undertones in the book because it does have a lot to do with society maybe not being that great a few decades from now, and you would rather immerse yourself in a game than indulge in real life. So great sci-fi, but yes, there are some cool references in it too.
So check it out. Go over to audible.com. Got to use that URL. Going to hook you up. Sign up. Make a new account. You're going to get to use the Audible service free for 30 days, and you're going to get to pick a free book. And I highly recommend that you get Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Check that out. Download that today as your free book and get to listening to it. And just use that URL. All right, let's talk a little about Dragon's Prophet. Dragon's Prophet. Dragon's Prophet. All about the Game of Thrones puns. In the Wintertide update. This game is still in open beta, right?
Technically, yeah.
This is not
by title it is, but it's monetized and everything.
This does not look like an open beta update, though.
No, not at all. You expect in open beta that it's going to be a lot of bug fixes, right? Maybe some systems tweaking, and maybe the addition of a few pieces of content here and there. Final Fantasy XIV's beta, open beta is coming up. We don't expect that to now open up all these extra levels and add all these instances and everything. We expect it to add a little bit more and get ready for launch. In Dragon Prophet's case, it's expanding the level cap. It's adding like 12 instances. It's adding a new zone.
Level cap's going to 70. What's the level cap now? Do you know? Level cap's going to 70.
60. Well, it's 70 now, but it was 60. Yeah, this is already in the game, but it was 60. As if that wasn't enough, Gary, plan on level cap probably hitting around 90 to 100 before this goes to official launch.
Wow, really?
That's the projections on what RuneWaker and Sony Online Entertainment are talking about if you scour their forums a little bit. It's looking like this will hit 90 to 100 before launch. And people knew that this update was coming because they were running the level 60 instances and getting level 63 gear that they in turn couldn't use. So they were like, when is this update coming? Well, it finally did. Tons of content. Some of the housing and island stuff is being implemented. So a lot of stuff.
So you got 4 new dungeons. You got 12 new public quests. You've got storage for an additional 100 dragons, which I'm sure a lot of players of Dragon's Prophet are looking for. So if you really, really, really like dragons, which I assume you do if you're playing Dragon's Prophet, you got 100 additional slots. Some new guild abilities, updates, like you said, to housing, class balance, UI refinement, bug fixes, all that good stuff. Definitely not a small patch. What's been going on? I haven't heard a lot of hype surrounding this expansion. I mean, is this what the game needs right now?
I don't know how well this is going to sell the game. I think most of the people that were interested in Dragon's Prophet are playing it already, and they're happy and they're doing their thing. To me, this isn't the game for everybody, and I don't think Sony's banking on too much out of it, especially with EQ Next getting ready to get some more information in 2 weeks. I mean, this is a nice little pocket filler. I don't think they're expecting too much out of it. It's fun. It's mediocre, though. You know, it's average and generic, but it's got that little hook about catching dragons. That
a little Pokemon
drive
hook.
People nuts. Yeah, it's going to drive collectors nuts. If you're not that big into collecting, you probably won't play it all that long. And that's nothing bad about the game. It's just there's nothing there unless you really want to be a collector.
So check it out, Dragon's Prophet. Last up today, quick one. Tribes Ascend. It's kind of created a little bit of a stir. Said that the game will not be receiving any more updates. Hi-Rez are focusing their resources on other games like Smite. Are you Tribes guy at all? Probably not.
Yeah, I am. I do like the fast-paced jet skiing aspect. I'm terrible at it. I'm not going to win any tournaments anytime soon. But I enjoy it.
Wasn't there some talk about aren't they going to actually allow put out the map creation tools or something for users to start messing around with?
Kind of a little ingenious idea, isn't it? You got a bunch of bad press about being honest. I mean, that's what they were. They were honest about, hey, we're really not going to be updating this game.
They could have just stayed quiet and us not released anything.
right? We've got Smite going. We've got Global Agenda 2 coming down the pike. We're just kind of going to back off of updates for this one. We're not saying we're going to ditch it, but we don't have anything in the works right now. And then turning around and saying, you know what? Fine. We are going to look at giving you guys the ability to make your own maps.
All right, nice so no, doesn't sound like no official content coming down the pipes, but I guess maybe some cool modding tools and things like that. I'll keep the game alive for long. I know a lot of people like Tribes Ascend.
Yep,
a lot of people like them.
Tribes Ascend is a rabid fan base.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Michael Byrne, follow him on the Twitter at Magic Man. It's MAGICKMANN with a number 1. And of course, go over to FreeToPlay.tv all day, every day. So you can follow me at Gary Gannon, follow GameBreaker TV at GameBreaker TV, and follow FreeToPlay. If you want to follow the FreeToPlay website on Twitter, it's what is it? I always forget. That's probably a bad sign that I can't remember.
F2P
TV. F2P TV. And for you Cube World goers out there, be on the lookout. Cube Nation, it's coming. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We do the show live every single Friday at 4 PST. Come on over for the live show. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for some more Derpy Dragon.